Hey, Surrey!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
Hans trying to defend, 15 to shoot. Jones step back, 3 on the way. He got another one. My goodness, 31 for Mason Jones. It's 70-54.
Moving along here at halftime with James McCann up in about 12 minutes. I'm here in Pittsburgh at the parents' house, probably heading back to the natural state in a couple of weeks. Before I do, I wonder if I'm going to get in. It's raining here right now, and I want to try to get outside and run or bike, but it's pretty impossible to do that. 40 degrees, rain. So does that mean that I dust off the parents' Nordic track downstairs, which hasn't been used in 25 years? It's still set up. I mean, there's like 25-year dust still on this Nordic track. Do you know what I'm talking about, SmackDown? The old Nordic track, cross-country
like
skiing machines.
Okay, all right, okay, that makes sense.
SmackDown's more familiar with the Thigh Master.
There you go.
Yeah, no Thigh Masters here, but we had the Solo Flex when it first came out. That was like the resistance weightlifting that all was like do-it-yourself in your basement with a bunch of stretchy things, and then the Nordic track, which if I got on that thing right now, I'd fall flat on my face and eat a mouthful of dust at the same time. It's like this thing actually is here. It is the world's largest paperweight, other than the piano downstairs, which also hasn't been played by a human being in the last 30 years. So,
do you still have toys?
Parents collect.
Do you still have your toys from when you were a kid?
No, they throw all of this stuff out, including even some of the good baseball cards. It's like a tradition that moms have to do. My mom did it to my father. My mom did it to me. It's a tradition. Mom has to throw away your old baseball cards.
Huh.
I watched a documentary about a baseball card collector who spent all these years and stuff building this huge collection, and they are basically worthless right now. They like oversaturated the market, printing all these cards and stuff and all these collectors. And
see, that's always been my thing. Like, what makes and y'all, I mean, you could answer this, and you might be able to too. Like, what makes trading cards so valuable?
Scarcity, for one. Scarcity, okay. and how many people want them. It's supply and demand, essentially.
Okay.
It's the same idea. And that's one of the things about this name, image, and likeness debate with student athletes that's really interesting, because you could have a college freshman get paid X amount of dollars to sign X amount of autographs and potentially flood the market with this kid's autograph. And then years later, when this kid is a famous, well-known professional athlete, and you have too many of his autographs out there, he has depressed the market value of his own autograph. So that's why some autographs are worth more than others. That's why some baseball cards are worth more than others. It's all supply and demand.
Jack of all trades is the movie I'm thinking about. It's on Netflix.
Oh, I watched some of that one. Yeah. It was a little creepy, too. Like, going into the old baseball card shows, there's a lot of guys, a lot of men giving young kids side eye. You know what I mean? It just never came across as something that was all on the up and up. It's just, and I was never into the memorabilia thing. I mean, I had baseball cards just like every other kid. And I think like the baseball card collection that was printed more than any other was the 87 Topps. People of my age will remember this baseball card set because it had the wooden paneling on the edge of the cards. I mean, I don't think a single card from that set is worth a penny, anything. I mean, even who would have been Rookie of the Year, 87? Mark McGwire was Rookie of the Year in the American League, 1987. That card, probably not worth much at all, compared to some of those famous cards like Mickey Mantle's rookie card, anything like that. Yeah, and I don't do the autograph thing. I don't have the signed balls. No, I just keep rings, championship rings, College World Series rings, that kind of stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of some other stuff, so tomorrow's the anniversary, 10th year anniversary of Dallas Braden pitching a perfect game. The perfect game is such an interesting thing in baseball because it is I mean, it's perfect. It's legitimately it's perfect. It's such a difficult thing to do, perfect. But so many pitchers that have thrown perfect games had less than perfect careers, or even careers that you could classify as bad, with the exception of one game. You know, like Len Barker, who was a star for the Cleveland Indians for a couple years, through a perfect game. He was never really a great major league pitcher. Tom Browning with the Reds. Dallas Braden, definitely. Philip Humber, another one. I mean, the perfect game isn't indicative of somebody always having some incredible career throughout their life, and Dallas Braden is one of them. But 10 years ago tomorrow, he threw a perfect game for the Oakland Athletics. You might know Braden now. He's a television broadcaster on MLB.com. Huge beard and everything. He didn't have the beard then when he threw this perfect game, and he was completely hungover. He admitted it. Early this morning on a radio show that he had gone out. It was the day before Mother's Day. His mother had passed away 9 years before, and he got hammered. And he got completely hammered, and he came back the next day and threw a perfect freaking game. So
maybe that's the secret.
Well, it's like, he joins the pretty small group of, like, David Wells threw a perfect game on 1 hour of sleep because he was still drunk from being at an SNL cast party the night before in New York. And if I remember correctly, didn't he also did he do something with, like, I think he owned a Babe Ruth glove and wore it during the perfect game. David Wells was a beaut. And then there's Doc Ellis, who threw a no-hitter while he was tripping on LSD. It's a whole other story.
Interesting.
Other baseball note. I got into a little conversation yesterday as I compared Michael Jordan with Derek Jeter. Jordan is a horrendous owner for basketball. Jeter has not done well, but I admit it's true. You know, Jordan's had 8 or 9 years as an owner in the NBA, so there's a track record there of a lot of failure. And Jeter's been the owner of the Marlins for 2 years, so you don't really have much of a track record there. But apparently, you won't have some celebrity owners for the New York Mets. Power couple J-Lo and A-Rod have decided to pull out of an attempt to buy the New York Mets. Too bad. So sad. It's because they couldn't buy the TV network that the Mets own as well. Phillip Rivers said that he's going to be a high school head coach right after he retires from the NFL. And we don't know when he's going to retire because he's got this one-year deal with the Colts. He says that at the age of 38, he's just going to play on a series of one-year contracts until he's ready to hang them up. And then the day he hangs them up, automatically he becomes the head coach at St. Michael Catholic in Fairhope, Alabama.
Is that how it works? I didn't know that's how coaching hours worked. But
that's how it's going to work for him.
Huh. All right.
He said he's always wanted to be a high school coach. And I didn't realize that Rivers' father, Steve, was a high school coach in Alabama for 25 years. So
interesting.
He's got the pedigree for sure. And he's already got the next job lined up. I would assume he won't be taking a salary. What does he make, $25 million this year?
I think it was 25 or 30, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, don't take the salary, Phillip. All right, what are we doing after the break? We've got James McCann, former Arkansas catcher, joining us after the break. Halftime's brought to you by The Fence Man. Put the number down, 479-782-3936. The Fence Man can help you if you own a business that needs more security or more curb appeal. They specialize in custom installations and been doing it for over 40 years. They can come for a no-obligations quote. Just call 479-782-3936. The Fence Man is a division of Quantum Property Services. And White Sox catcher and former Razorback James McCann joins Halftime next.
Calico County will remain open for delivery and takeout service for many of our menu favorites from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., including breakfast each day until 11 a.m. Now, you can order takeout to be brought to your car at curbside by calling 479-452-3299, or you can use the Order Online button at our website, calicocounty.net. For delivery, use the Waiter app on your computer or your handheld device, and visit our Facebook page to see any changes in our efforts to continue to service our customers.
Attention, all Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members. Do you need a better internet provider? One who treats you like a member and not a number? Then check out our new fiber internet services from Wave Rural Connect. We are bringing state-of-the-art, high-speed fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. If you are an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Are your appliances struggling? Do you need that part and not sure where to go? Mid-South Distributing has you covered with 9 locations in the Arkansas area. Appliance parts and accessories for all major brands of appliance. Mid-South Distributing has you, the customer, in mind when you're needing that part for your appliance. Mid-South Distributing. Check out midsouthparts.com to find your location near you. Mid-South Distributing. We're in your neighborhood.
In sports, success is measured in the number of points scored, in games won, and in championships earned. At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us. In fact, 9 out of 10 people surveyed with a claim would recommend Shelter to a friend. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith or Jim Malum in Charleston about Shelter's home insurance.
Clean up your home improvement projects with Shopvac from Metters Lumber True Value. Right now, the 5-gallon 2-peak horsepower wet and dry vacuum cleaner is just $39.99 while supplies last. The Shopvac includes a 6-foot hose, 3 wands, and a floor nozzle to handle all your wet and dry cleanup needs. Don't miss the great bargain of the month from Metters Lumber True Value. Metters Lumber True Value with locations in Alma, Clarksville, and Ozark. You can check them out online at metterslumber.com.
A heart in my tasty Honey Nut Cheerios? Cereal. You trying to tell me you love me?
Actually, it's reminding you that it can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
Wait! They can help lower cholesterol? I've been so focused on the sweet, tasty taste that I completely forgot. Now I'm in love.
Learn more about making Honey Nut Cheerios part of your heart-healthy lifestyle by picking up a box at your local grocery store.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
Razorbacks beat the pressure this time into the front court. Isaiah Joe, quick three, and it's good. Joe with a three with 1:09 to go. Hawks are back up 74-68. Just when it looked like the Hawks might let the air out of it, Isaiah Joe cans a three.
We are continuing with as many baseball interviews as we can find during baseball season with no baseball. We had Dave Jordan on Tuesday, Kyle Peterson yesterday, got Dave Van Horn scheduled for Tuesday, and James McCann, White Sox catcher, former Razorback, is on the line right now with us on Halftime. James, really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. How are y'all doing?
We're doing okay. I'd rather be calling a Razorback baseball game, but unfortunately not happening. Just as I'm sure you would much rather be playing for the White Sox today, but unfortunately you're home in Franklin, Tennessee. But as I read, you're still keeping pretty decent baseball shape, apparently, thanks to recently retired Major Leaguer Ben Zobrist, right?
Yeah, so I've been really lucky. All the facilities here have been shut down. So I've been lucky. He has a barn on his property that he outfitted with a cage, and there's a machine in there, so I get to go in there and do some catching off the machine and hit off the machine and hit off the tee, and I'm getting about as much as I could possibly get in considering the circumstances.
So baseball is one of those sports that it's awfully rare to practice by yourself. That must feel very weird.
Yes, it's very strange, and really just everything about it. It's strange. I've never seen my yard so green. I'm usually gone throughout the spring, and I don't get back to the fall. So seeing my grass so green and flowers starting to bloom, it's all a little strange.
Do you feel that you're in baseball shape right now? Because I know the teams have said you pretty much need like at least 2, probably 3 weeks to get into the baseball shape that you were working yourself into during spring training. But do you feel like you would be able to get out and play a game tomorrow if you had to, or do you need time?
You definitely need time. There's a reason why spring training is 6 weeks during a normal spring training. So as close as we were to playing in games when this all got shut down, you just can't simulate that game speed and that game activity. So you definitely need time. Pitchers need time to get off the mound and face hitters, and then hitters need time to see live pitching. If we rush back into things, it's going to be a recipe disaster from an injury standpoint. Just making sure guys, we have to make sure guys are ready.
We hear about timing so much, and I obviously you can't just step into the batter's box and hit after an off season. It just doesn't work that way. What about catching? How much time do you need for your timing to come back in catching, or does it just come back when you squat behind the plate?
No, it definitely takes some time. Normal spring training, there's about four, give or take 4 weeks of games. The first week of games as a catcher, you only go about 5 innings. Then that second, third week, you start working up to about 7 innings, and then finally by the end of spring training, you're catching a full 9. And that's part of the build-up for your legs. So that's going to be the difficult aspect as well. Is it doesn't matter how many bullpens you catch, it doesn't how much you squat and catch off the machine. There's just nothing that simulates that game like catching, where you've got to be ready for a runner to steal, you got to be ready to block the ball in the dirt. There's just a lot that goes into it.
So we've got all kinds of rumors right now about this plan or that plan to start the season. None of us knows anything to believe. Jeff Passan came out the other day, I think it was 2 days ago, and said that teams are telling players to start getting themselves into as close to baseball shape as they can, hopefully for a start to the season sometime in late June or early July. Have the White Sox communicated with you? Are you being told anything about a possible date, or that they want you to be in a certain shape in a certain amount of time?
No, really, the big thing is we were just when everything got shut down, we were told to stay ready. So I don't think anyone's just like stopped and taken off. I think everyone's tried to do something to stay in shape. I know guys have been thrown into nets in their backyards just to stay in shape. So I think guys are closer than what they would typically be, come January, February timeframe for a normal spring training. But I have heard the rumors that certain teams have told their guys to be ready. Unfortunately, everything is all speculation until Major League Baseball, slides that proposal across the table to the players' union as far as what they're thinking, and then the players obviously have to agree to it. So coming up with the plans, I think, is great from a standpoint of if and when we're given that go ahead of okay, it's good to start. We want to make sure we have a plan in place. That way, we're not wasting valuable time where we could be playing.
Speaking to James McCann here on Halftime. James, we got a question in here from one of our listeners. This comes from Jason in Frankfort, Kentucky. He's asking about during your time with the Detroit Tigers, you had a all-star pitcher. You had Justin Verlander throwing you some pitches out there. Was there any special moments that you had from Verlander during your time in Detroit?
There's one game specifically that I often think about. We had a no-hitter going into the 9th. I actually think we got one out in the 9th before giving up a double that landed on the chalk down the left field line. And that's the closest I've been to getting a no-hitter at the major league level. So that's a game that always, will always stick out to me, catching Verlander. But honestly, when you have a teammate like him, a future Hall of Famer, you just watch the way they go about their business, and you learn things from their routine that me being a catcher, I can pass on to other pitchers that I catch in the future to show them, hey, here's how a Hall of Famer does it.
I know one thing me and Phil have talked about, and there's been some people speaking about it when this whole thing got started, and then when the rumors started coming around of baseball making its return, and you had the pod systems with Major League Baseball and different locations being used But the one thing that was a constant through this whole thing was MLB bringing in the electronic strike zone. Do you think you'd be okay with MLB eventually having that electronic strike zone as a catcher?
I have mixed feelings about it. I'm more of an old school guy, so I just have grown accustomed to the fact that umpiring is they're humans just like we're humans, and it's not going to be perfect, and you deal with it. I also get frustrated when something doesn't necessarily go my way that should have. So just like anybody else, so I see both sides of it. I personally, from what I've seen it being tested out, I think it's still a little ways away. There's certain pitches that I think definitely would give the pitcher the advantage over the hitter. And let's be honest, I don't think pitchers need any more of an advantage than what they already have. So I'm talking about like the curve balls that barely nick the bottom of the zone, and the catcher's dropping the ball in the dirt. Those are going to be called strikes with electronic strike zone because they're barely nicking that strike zone. And in all honesty, that if a pitcher can figure out how to throw that consistently, hitters are going to have a tough time hitting.
Talking with James McCann, former Arkansas catcher, and I want to pivot to some of the stuff involving your time with the Razorbacks. We had Dave Jordan on Tuesday, and I'd asked him. I know he's going to root for any of his players that are playing in the majors, but when you've got a battery that you coached in the College World Series on a major league team, I have a feeling Jordan is going to be a White Sox fan. Here's what he said.
I'll definitely be a White Sox fan. I want to be a fan from wherever our guys are at. Definitely root for those kids. James was a pleasure, too. Really, really smart guy that never really hit in college, but because he was so smart, he was able to figure out who he was and what he needed to do with the bat. And he's had a lot of success, and he's done really well for himself at the big league level.
Jordan's a beaut, isn't he? How'd you like working with Dave Jordan?
I love Dave Jordan. He's a heck of a guy, and I really enjoyed learning from him. And someone's been around the game for so long. They have information and stories that you can listen to for a long time.
What was your relationship with Dallas Keuchel like at Arkansas? Because I know you were a freshman the year that he was the Friday night starter. And, I mean, you caught as a true freshman, which is so difficult to do. What was that relationship with Dallas like then?
It was good. I don't even know. I wish I could go back and tell you why this started happening, but it became a tradition. Every Thursday night before a weekend series, Dallas and myself and a couple other guys, we'd go grab a bite to eat. And for whatever reason, things just kind of clicked between me and Dallas, and we stayed in touch even though he was a junior and I was a freshman, and he went on to pro ball and I was still at Arkansas. We stayed in touch, and then obviously playing against each other for the last few years, and now being on the same team. He's a guy that I really enjoyed playing with, and I was very excited when he signed to be on the White Sox and get a chance to play with him again.
Think maybe you can get Dallas to request for you to be his personal catcher?
I don't know how that'll work, but either way, I enjoyed the time I got to catch him during spring, and we worked really well together. It was just like picking up where we left off in college.
I want to touch on that 2009 College World Series team. They came back during the 2019 season for a 10-year anniversary celebration. Obviously, you couldn't be there because you were at the White Sox at that time. That team lost their last 8 SEC regular season games and then ends up, I think you guys might have almost missed the NCAA tournament. You go 2-2 in Hoover, sweep through Norman, sweep through Tallahassee. You get the walk-off double by Dar that sends you to Omaha. That 2009 season, what a roller coaster, huh?
Yeah, no, I look back on that 2009 season, and being a freshman, I didn't know any better. I just was kind of, I don't want to say along for the ride. I just kind of took, watched how the older guys went about their business. And, I remember we started that year something like 10-2 in SEC play. And then I remember it was a week where we had a showdown with Arizona State midweek. It was like a Tuesday, Wednesday series, and they were ranked number one in some polls, and we were ranked number one in some polls. And we swept them. And Vanderbilt came to town that weekend, and they swept us. And it was like, oh, boy, here we go. And it was just a rocky road the rest of the way leading up to the SEC tournament. But I think that those, just that period of trials and obstacles we had to get over is what toughened us up for that postseason run. And, as everyone knows, it's about who gets hot at the right time, and we got hot at the right time heading into the postseason, and it was a magical journey. I know that.
I want to ask about just a comparison between the Arkansas baseball program and the major leagues. I think the atmospheres are a lot different. A college ball game has a much different atmosphere than a major league game. I want to ask about the facilities. We asked Kyle Peterson about this yesterday. With the building of the new facility in right field, with the Fowler Center, and none of that stuff was around when you were playing at Arkansas. But what you see right now at Arkansas, are there better facilities for baseball at Arkansas than some major league teams have to work with?
Definitely aspects, yes. I can honestly say I didn't play in as nice of a stadium as Arkansas until I got to the big leagues. There's definitely batting cages. The batting cages there, the indoor infield and cages over there is nicer than pretty much. I mean, no major league facility has an indoor area that big to work. And then it's just I tell guys this all the time. All you got to do is get somebody on campus to see what Arkansas has, and it sells itself. The facilities there are unbelievable, and the fans. That's something that you don't get until you get to the big leagues. And honestly, once you get to the big leagues, you still don't have. You have fans that as much as they want you to win, they're also not afraid to boo you when you don't do your job well. Whereas at Arkansas, they're behind you all the way. College games different than professional sports. So that's something that's a little bit different too.
James, we'll leave it there. I really appreciate you joining Halftime today and being a part of the show and sharing your experiences with us. Good luck getting ready for the baseball season. I really hope there's a baseball season, man. I know you do too. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Y'all take care. You got it. That's James McCann, former Razorback, current White Sox catcher, on Halftime today. Well, it has been an action-packed show today, guys.
It has.
Pretty rare to have three guests in here.
High-profile guests, too, at that.
That's right. So why don't we put a cherry on the top and see what's going on this weekend. Got The Last Dance. Might have some other things. And I wonder if Michael Jordan will be speaking from a house that is actually his. Halftime wraps up after this.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
See the full line of Gravely mowers with 0% financing for 48 months at Bush Tractor in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com.
Did you invest in real estate only to find out that real estate takes up too much of your time? If you answered yes, then it's time to make a call to the experts. With more than 30 years of combined property management experience and more than 16,000 units managed, Trinity Multifamily are the ones to call. Get your life back. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they